All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if, for these two Google searches, if BSS is present. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph down below here in white. Got our highest intent peeps. Over on the left is a peep searching for, boudoir photo shoot in my city, and they're searching that today, things like that. And so people the easiest convert, closest to the money, and we make a video. The videos we make are about BSS, kind of first getting found by these peeps. And over on the right, we got our lowest intent peeps. So we talk about over with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and right now we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means we're dying pretty fast because that means we're on page 2 or deeper if we got 0 slots page 1. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. And that means we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2 or deeper. And that means our business will be down pretty fast. Also, 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good enough anymore because every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is basically going to have 1 slot. And there's 10 organic slots. If we got 1, there's going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. We're not sending it out. We're not looking special. We're not looking differentiated. And as a result, boudoir photographers actually, or boudoir buyers, they're just going to click to all 10 people's website, opens everyone's website, submit a contact form for everyone, get a quote from everyone. And as a result, everyone's going to get price shopped, compared to death, price shopped to death. We have no pricing leverage, pricing power, just because there's so many options. And this is what approximately 80% of buyers do. The other, they're just page 1 only. So, we really only got to worry about the peeps on page 1 for approximately 80% of buyers. Now, 0, 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. So it's not normal to have such a small number of slots page 1 Google search as a boudoir photography business owner. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, with market saturation, what actually happens is the kind of over time, more boudoir photographers enter the market. Normally it's because people upgrade their gear, they get a new iPhone, an awesome camera, or new camera itself. They just decide I'm gonna throw up a Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir now, or they get a website created, say they're now a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on groups on Facebook saying they now for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers, and as a result, we actually run out. We basically kind of get out competed. It's just harder for every other boudoir photographer that's in the market. Now, there's 2 deeper root causes. The first one, market saturation. Yeah, I did that. But the most important one is this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is something boudoir photographers kind of auto-accepted, haven't really thought about. But many have felt that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, maybe their website was, page 1 slot 7. And some new boudoir photographers entered the market. And then their link, their boudoir photographer basically link got pushed down to page 2 slot 2. So they're saying man, I help those people delete their websites and Google brings me back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mentality. Google actually allow us and wants us to take as many page 1 slots on Google as possible as we're willing to put in the effort to take and acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know Google literally will give us as many slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire, which means the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So yeah, when you only got 0, 1 slots page 1 Google, disappearing boudoir photographer, because if we got 0 slots page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1, we're still basically invisible because we got 1 slot, same as the other 9 competitors on the page. So yeah, we're getting form fills, but probably 10% or less of those are converting. And this is kind of the disappearing boudoir photographer, kind of the warning sign, the warning symbol. the canary in the coal mine, saying that now our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to, is actually on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we have discovered a solution. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there in as many placements as possible. And this is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow on the east side, the back side of those mountains. So what happens to that snow is it melts into small streams, flows into small streams and then small rivers, and eventually all the melted snow collects into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River, that's page 1 of Google search. So we gotta get the snow up top first, top of the mountain, so it can melt and come down, and that is S-cube methodology, is getting that snow up there. Everything flows from S-cube methodology. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable boudoir photography business to still have a chance to grow, even in a ever saturating, boudoir photography marketplace in a relatively quick, and give that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution that gives that same benefit of enabling business to grow in a saturated marketplace that I've seen that is as strong as S-cube methodologies is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 8, for like 5 to 10 years. That is, that's way longer than our, S-cube methodology to kind of get that power to grow. And dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. No, dude, AI is here. We do not have 5 to 10 years to wait anymore. We need to be building momentum now. And interesting, one of my estimates is that using S-cube methodology, my estimate is it'll actually enable boudoir photographers to, basically acquire and have a large, well-known brand in their area, approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because, we're being seen way more, higher volume, higher frequency, and more surfaces, more touch points. And so that's kind of my own estimate. And an example here, S-cube methodology, we are going to LA. Let's say we're in LA and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. And so, over a million websites trying to rank page 1 Google search, ultra competitive. And we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So we decided, man, our only hope here is S-cubed methodology. So we fire it up and we crank it to the max. So let's say we crank it to the max and we take literally the first 300 slots across all the social searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And then we also take the, let's say those flow onto Google search at a, and we take the first 300 slots Google search. Well, 10 Google slots per page. So we're taking out literally the first 30 pages on Google. And so when a boudoir buyer searches for anything related to, high intent with boudoir in our city, we're basically the only one that comes up when they search on social, when they search on Google. So if, they got to go to slot basically 301 to find any of our competitors. So if that's the case, what is the, whose business will most likely be growing in this situation? Probably ours, utilizing S-cube methodology. Whose businesses will likely be failing? Slowing down, disappearing, failing, going invisible. Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photography competitors in our city, because we're basically the only one buyers can find. So this is kind of a, kind of most extreme example of what S-cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. And initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google, cool. And every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And when we make them invisible, they're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. That means we can basically control, through our effort, how many of our competitors would kick off, make them disappearing boudoir photographers, and make their boudoir photography business, be on the path to disappearing. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually like this initial benefit. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Because when we have these, basically everyone else can have 1 slot, all the other competitors. So we're going to be dominating them with our 3 slots. And the ultra rare scenario where someone has 2 slots, well, we got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So allows us to dominate in basically all scenarios. And finally, we know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. That's fine. We now have the solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing SQ methodology. So I wanted to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I strictly use SQ methodology. That's my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I actually I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely by utilizing S-cubed methodology. And so now we're going to check if this boudoir photography business, well, you saw in my picture, I definitely don't have BSS, boudoir search sameness. So we'll see if this boudoir photography business has boudoir search sameness for these two searches. We got a local search, then we got kind of the larger city search. So first one, we got West Pasco, Washington. And let's see. So, all right, we got one. Boom. We got two. All right, so we do not have BSS. Nice. I wonder if Boudoir by Rebecca is the same one. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. You're in Pasco, Washington. So we got three. All right, dude, we're hit perfect. This is exactly what I want to see. I want to see at least the GBC minimum. So we do not have BSS for this Google search. Now we'll check. Now we'll check kind of for the larger city area. So go down to the organic. So larger city area, Tri-Cities, Washington. So we got one. Two, right there, the threads. Three, couples boudoir. Okay, that's fine. It's got boudoir in it, so we got three. Hey, this is actually perfect. So we do not have BSS, and actually for local and city, they've met the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So hey, dude, that's perfect. So we can confidently say they're probably not a disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, they don't meet it categorically because they don't have BSS, but probably not disappearing. They're most likely treading water or growing. So I got the the 3 out of 10. So it's perfect. This is what we want to shoot for. And then for those that want to keep growing the momentum, take more page one search slots, as many as possible. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your areas, and you're saying you have BSS for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one in Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually will give us and wants to give us as many page one slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you've been looking for something like SQ methodology. SQ methodology is your one path forward that you can see that will actually help you, get all these slots. And you like the initial benefits, more slots page one Google search, and you really like kicking your competing boudoir photographers off page one Google search, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. You like those. You also understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps become boudoir photographers over time. Okay, yeah, who doesn't know that? But you're thinking ahead and you're being like, man, AI is taking more and more peeps jobs. Last time that happened, COVID, and people lost their jobs, but people still had to earn money. So everyone's got a high-powered smartphone, ultra-powered camera. So tons of peeps became boudoir photographers then. So you're like, oh no, there's actually going to be more and more and more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace because they lost their jobs, still got to earn money. Way above and on top of the people that are simply naturally are upgrading their gear. So you're actually realizing, man, I actually got to fortify my position on page one, and I have like so many page one links that Google is ranking me for on page one that Google actually runs out and starts putting my page one worthy links to force them to start filling out page 2, 3, and 4. And you need to fortify because You actually got to keep current competing boudoir photographers from ever ranking page 1 Google search, and as also any new boudoir photographers that come in losing their job due to AI, remember ranking page 1 Google search. So you got to fortify your position, like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana. And so you're liking that future benefit, kind of fortification. You want to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand execute and SQ methodology correctly every single day. We're actually throwing up basically creating invisible thematic keyword columns in our brand, kind of attached, plugged into our brand. And as a result, we're building up this like massive backend AI keyword mindshare with all these highest intent Boudoir buyer keywords plugged into our brand. So every new day we execute this, we get the benefits of higher probability being recommended here, AI overview right at the top, most premium organic placement on Google search or any search, whoever's using Bing search out there, and also increasing the probability that AI apps recommend this in parallel. ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, they all run on the same backend thematic keyword kind of mindshare system, where it's looking at repetition, relevance, age, authority with all these different keywords. And you know that AI search is, dude, it's getting larger and larger, more and more and more every single day. And so, like in those feature benefits, and actually last time I did AI search with the photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and dude, it returned me 3. When I did a manual search, Google search, manual Facebook search, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta get these slots any way possible. And you're seeing SQ methodology is the only thing that kind of enables the speedy creation of these invisible thematic keyword columns compared to any other solution out there. You also like the future benefit, building a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than normal methods, or methods everyone else is using, because we're doing much higher volume across many more surfaces. And you also understand that since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you also like that you have a chance to get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits. So you can actually build up a massive backlog of page 1 worthy links ahead of your competitors, and build a massive backend AI keyword mindshare, again, ahead of all your competitors. Basically make a big gap between all your current competitors and future competitors as AI takes their job, and kind of in preparation for that. And well, I mean, it's already happening already. And because of that, you decided to be first mover in your city, adopt this technology, be the first one so you can box everyone else out, because you understand the converse is if one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city signs on with me to use this first, then you're actually going to be, well, in order for you to compete, you're going to have to increase, or actually for first, you'd have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself. Well, actually derive it for the first time for yourself. And you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, because we're the ones that invented it. And as a result of that, you'd be, you then have to equal our execution every single day in order to, and that would happen after that is you would maintain the gap that we currently have ahead of you, me and your competitor. So to make any headway, you'd actually have to double or triple our execution every single day. And in order for you to do that, well, you still wouldn't be even 100% confident executing this strategy, because you wouldn't be 100% confident you've correctly derived SQ methodology in the first place. And you'd be looking at all this and be like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? And so you realize all that, and you decide, oh, screw that. You're simply going to be the first mover in your city, because this opportunity is too good to pass up. And so if that's you, shoot us a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with us, you cannot. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.